Before we begin, listen carefully. These are not campfire legends. These are real experiences shared by people who believed they were safe until something followed them into the dark. Mountains are silent for a reason. Forests don't scream, they watch. Tonight, you'll hear 3 stories, 3 journeys into the wilderness, and 3 moments where something unseen decided to come along. Disclaimer: these stories are shared for storytelling and discussion purposes only. They are based on personal experiences submitted online. Interpretations are left to the listener. Turn off the lights, wear your headphones, and remember, not everything that follows you leaves footprints.
I'm sharing this story because many people asked about the terrifying experience my ex-boyfriend once sent to me. The night before everything happened, I had a huge fight with my ex. I was emotionally destroyed, angry, broken, and not thinking straight. I asked my cousin to stay with me because I wasn't in a good mental state. That same night, an old friend suddenly contacted me. Let's call her Rena. We hadn't spoken in a long time. She asked if I was free the next night. I said yes, even though I had no mood at all. She invited me to go hiking, leaving at 2 a.m. I didn't think much of it. That night, my ex tried calling and messaging me repeatedly. I ignored everything and turned my phone off. Something about his tone made my cousin uneasy, but I brushed it off. At exactly 2 a.m., Rena arrived. There were 5 of us in the car, 3 guys, 2 girls. I was the youngest. We started driving toward a remote mountain area. The journey was long. We stopped a few times to buy supplies. While waiting in the car, I suddenly received a message from my ex. "You think running will save you? Tonight, this ends." I didn't feel scared. I thought he was just being dramatic. As the drive continued, the road grew darker. No streetlights, just trees swallowing the road. Inside the car, we joked and laughed to lighten the mood, until, suddenly, everything went quiet. The driver slammed the brakes. He felt like something ran across the road, and there was a heavy impact sound, like hitting a large animal. I laughed. I made a stupid joke. That was my mistake. One of the guys turned slowly and stared directly at me. His face went pale. Then it happened. Something huge and white slammed onto the front of the car. Not an animal, not human. It looked like a bird, but impossibly large, big enough to crush the windshield. Its eyes were red. Its face looked twisted, like it had been pierced or torn. I froze. My body couldn't move. Suddenly, the guy sitting in front shouted at me, "Why are you just sitting there? Get out, now!" I thought they were trying to abandon me. I refused. Then he opened his bag and pulled out something sharp, wrapped carefully. My heart dropped. Another voice said, "This is serious." They weren't looking at me. They were looking behind me. Then I felt it, a crushing weight on my shoulders, cold, heavy, like something was sitting on me. The guy grabbed my shoulders, pointed the blade slightly behind my neck, and said, "Leave her, or I'll force you." That was the last thing I heard. I woke up while the car was moving. Someone was playing a recording quietly on my phone. My face felt wet. They said I fainted. I didn't ask questions. I was too scared. Not long after, something hit the side mirror, then another, smaller this time. The driver was told not to stop, just drive. No one spoke. At dawn, we stopped at a small prayer building to rest. I asked Rena what really happened. She avoided my eyes and said, "It's better if you don't know."
Later, I decided not to continue the trip and went home instead. That night, while I was alone in my room, I felt it again, like something was watching me. Then my ex called. I answered silently. He laughed and said, "So, did you meet them? I sent 3." My blood turned cold. He continued laughing and said, "You can't escape me. Distance doesn't matter." I ended the call and collapsed. After that, my family changed my number. He never contacted me again. But sometimes, I still feel the weight on my shoulders.
I want to share an experience that made me swear I would never return to that mountain again. This was my 3rd time hiking it. The first 2 times were with friends. The 3rd time was with my husband, and it felt different from the very beginning. This mountain is known to be sacred. Locals believe it has a guardian, an ancient being said to protect the land. Some describe him as an old man. Others say he is no longer human, large, hairy, silent, something that belongs to the mountain itself. I used to think those were just stories, until that night. We started our climb late in the morning. It was the rainy season. The trail was slippery. Mist wrapped around the trees like something alive. At one of the checkpoints, my husband stopped to help a hiker who had severe leg cramps. People who hike often know this rule: never massage someone in the forest. Not long after that, my husband's leg cramped badly too. That was the first warning. We reached the resting lodge late in the evening. Heavy rain fell without stopping. 8 of us shared the room. No one talked, no laughter, no small talk. Everyone just lay down quietly. It felt like an unspoken rule. This was not a place to be loud. At 1 a.m., we continued the climb. The temperature dropped close to freezing. The wind cut through our jackets. Our headlamps created small circles of light, surrounded by endless darkness. I liked the dark, but this darkness felt different. Heavy, crowded, as if something was standing just outside the light, watching. After sunrise, while descending, the rain returned. Other hikers slowly disappeared ahead of us. Soon, it was just me and my husband. That was when I started to feel it. We weren't alone. Not one presence, not 2, many. From the corner of my eye, I saw faces in the bushes, pale, still, with unnaturally wide eyes. I lowered my head and prayed silently. My husband pointed ahead. "There's a shelter." I looked up. It had a thatched roof, old wooden pillars, no metal. I knew immediately that was not a real shelter. All official checkpoints were built with metal roofs. I grabbed his hand. "Don't stop. Keep walking." A few steps later, my hand brushed against something black, rough, hairy. Then I heard it. A deep breath, slow, heavy, as if something enormous was standing right above us. I didn't look up. I didn't scream. I just moved closer to my husband and kept praying. A few meters ahead, 3 women stood on the trail. They wore white. Their hair was long and black. They were silent. When I focused harder, my body froze. They had no faces, no eyes, no mouths, just smooth, pale skin. I whispered my husband's name. When we looked again, they were gone. Not long after that, we saw a man standing beside the trail. A dog sat next to him. The dog didn't bark. That was when it hit me. There had been no dogs on this mountain at all. The moment we reached the next checkpoint, the man and the dog disappeared. We were lost for nearly 2 hours. Our headlamp batteries drained faster than normal. Our phones lost power rapidly. When we finally reached the base, the guide ran towards us.
He said something strange. He had fallen asleep, and in all his years guiding hikers, that had never happened before. Later, the guide explained certain sections of the trail were known to be shared areas. The path had been changed in the past because of disturbances, and the figure of a man with a dog, he was said to be the spirit of an old guide who died on the mountain. Some say he still waits, making sure no one walks alone. Even now, when I think about that hike, I feel watched. And as I'm typing this story, I hear sounds in my house that never were there before. Maybe it followed us, or maybe it just wanted to be remembered.
It was past midnight when I stepped into the open clearing at the edge of the plantation. This spot was always used for safety briefings before the hike began. I checked my watch. It was already after 12 a.m. In front of me stood a group of hikers from Malacca, 20 of them, 12 men, 8 women. I introduced myself as their guide. I told them to call me Sir. I was assisted by another guide named Ali, who would lead from the front. The group organizer, Razi, stood in the middle with the female hikers. This was planned as a day hike. If everything went smoothly, we were supposed to exit by 5 p.m. Before moving, we recited Al-Fatiha together. After stretching, we began the climb. Ali led from the front, Razi stayed with the group, and I stayed at the back as the sweeper. I always preferred staying behind during night hikes. I don't know why, it just felt necessary. After nearly 3 hours, passing 6 false peaks, we reached Camp 1. Other hikers were already there. Their tents were open. They were sleeping soundly. The sound of snoring echoed through the cold mountain air. I remember thinking, why did I accept a day hike job? I could be sleeping right now. We rested briefly near a small stream. The temperature was freezing. The altitude was already over 1,400 meters. Camp 1 had a reputation. Many hikers said it was hard. Not physically, but something else. We continued. At dawn, Ali suggested we stop for Subu prayer. I agreed. Everyone performed their prayers using whatever water they had. Some used bottles, some used spray containers. I was relieved. Everyone respected their prayers. After that, we continued toward Camp 2. About an hour later, I noticed 2 hikers struggling, Bob and Farah. They were exhausted. I encouraged them, joked with them, tried to keep their spirits up. Eventually, we reached Camp 2. The cold here was worse. The ground was wet and mossy. It never dried. Ali looked like a wrapped candy, completely covered in plastic to keep warm. We decided to split. Ali would continue to the summit with the stronger hikers. I would stay behind with Bob and Farah. Bob insisted he was fine. He had climbed this mountain before. Farah wanted to continue too. Against my better judgment, I allowed it. 30 minutes after leaving Camp 2, Bob suddenly stopped. He said his chest felt tight. His heart felt like it was going to burst. I told him to breathe slowly. Bob asked to return to Camp 2 and wait there. I agreed. Before separating, I gave him a ground sheet, a stove, and gas. I warned him, if you see or hear anything strange, don't respond. Then I continued with Farah. We reached the summit at 10:45 a.m. We took photos, ate, rested. I instructed Ali to descend early to accompany Bob at Camp 2. As we prepared to go down, another group arrived at the summit. I casually asked them if they saw a man resting at Camp 2. They replied calmly, yes, there were 3. I forced a smile, but inside, my heart sank. At Camp 2, Bob was there, alive, safe. When he tried to tell me something, I interrupted him. We were already behind schedule. I split the group again.
At 1 p.m., I began descending with the slower hikers, including Farah. Then the rain started. Heavy, relentless. Farah's condition worsened. Her leg pain spread to her waist. Something felt very wrong. By 4 p.m., we weren't even halfway to Camp 1. The radio stopped working. Farah suddenly said, "I can't walk anymore." I refused to leave her. She admitted she was about to get her period, severe cramps. I made a decision. I carried her. With her body tied securely to mine, I climbed uphill while carrying my own backpack. Roots tripped me, rocks scraped my legs. That's when an elderly man appeared behind me. He offered to help carry my bag. I accepted. After he disappeared ahead, the forest went silent. Too silent. We reached Camp 1 at 6:30 p.m. Ali had already taken the others down. Some were close to hypothermia. He made the right call. At 7 p.m., we continued. Darkness fell. Headlamps on. That's when Farah screamed, "What is that?" I told her there was nothing. But then she shouted, "Stop reading those prayers. I don't like it." She pointed behind me. "There's a woman with her child. She's waving at me." I turned around. There was nothing there, but the air felt crowded. As we walked, the mountain felt endless. Too many false peaks, too many repetitions. Then I saw something to my right, a campsite. That shouldn't exist. 5 figures stood there. Their clothes looked old, like hikers from the 80s or 90s. Oil lamps glowed faintly. They weren't looking at me. They were staring at Farah. At 10:50 p.m., we finally reached the plantation, the starting point. We were broken, physically and mentally. Later, Bob told me that when he was alone earlier, he felt watched. When he looked up, he saw a man and a woman smiling at him. Their clothes were old. They vanished when he looked away. Until today, no one from the group ever mentioned the campsite again. So I assume I was the only one who saw it. And honestly, I'm grateful they didn't follow us out. If you ever want to know what true fear feels like, try hiking at night and stay at the back.
If you made it to the end, you're safe. For now. But the people in these stories thought the same thing until the road went quiet. The forest felt too close and the silence began to move. If you hike at night, if you travel through unfamiliar places, be careful what you bring with you, because sometimes you don't bring something back. Something comes back with you. If you enjoy true horror stories like these, consider subscribing to the channel. New stories are uploaded regularly. And if you have experienced something you can't explain, something you still think about when it's quiet, you're welcome to share your story. You're not the only one who has seen something in the dark.